Good morning. As you can see, I'm already at the top of the mountain. I drove up to the top of Packmanadnock today because I wanted to talk about my upcoming section hike. So, for those of you who've been on the channel for a while, you've probably heard me talking about 46 climbs. It's a fundraiser I like to do for suicide awareness and prevention. And this year I decided it was time to go big. Um, I said I was going to do 1 mile on the AT in New Hampshire for every $10 raised, and I raised the $1,600 that I needed. So I'm going all the way from Vermont to Maine. Now I've still got a long way to go, so it is unlikely I will get my stretch goal of $3,000 in order to do the Mahoosuc section. So I probably won't be doing that. But I thought I would talk about my preparations and my gear, mostly my gear. So you could see, what I've done in order to maximize success. So I'm going to start by talking about my big three. So first I want to talk about my pack. This is the Outdoor Vitals Shadow Light 60. It's a 60-liter pack. It weighs less than 2 pounds. It's probably a little more than 2 pounds since I've already added a few items to it, but it's a good lightweight pack that is comfortable to carry up to about 35 pounds. Next item is my shelter. I'm a hammocker, as most of you know, so I will be using the War Bonnet Blackbird and a War Bonnet Thunderfly, and you can see that the Thunderfly is set up there in a snakeskin, which makes for easy deployment. And you can see I'm using a trash compactor bag to waterproof my system. Make sure that nothing gets wet. So next is my sleep system. Because I'm a hammocker, I have a quilt and an underquilt, which is, they're both Outdoor Vitals Storm Loft 30 degree. I've also got in there a little beanie cap and a air pillow that I use. So now we're going to talk about water. As you can see, I've got two 1-liter bottles and a 0.7-liter bottle. The 0.7-liter bottle has a straw on it, and what that allows me to do is put it in the little pouch there so that I can drink as I go, whereas these two little ones go in the side pockets. This, of course, is my filter kit. I've got a CNOC water bladder and a Sawyer squeeze, so between those two I'll be able to filter water easily without putting any dirty water into my 1-liter bottles. I know that that would save me a little bit of weight if I did that, but I like the ability, number one, to carry an extra 2 liters if I need to. And number two, to always know that the water in my water bottles is drinkable and never question whether I need to filter it or not. So next I'm going to talk about clothing. This is the clothing that goes in my bag rather than the clothing that I'm going to wear. I'll talk about the clothing I'm going to wear in a minute, but the bag on the right is there's a pair of shorts, some spare pair of underwear, spare pair of socks, spare pair of sock liners, um, t-shirt. Basically my camp clothing is there on the right with a few things that I can change out should they become soiled beyond retention before I can do laundry. On the left there is just a helium raincoat, very lightweight, and that's there just in case I need a little something to break the wind or to keep the water off me when it's raining. Next, my two in case of emergency kits. Obviously, I've got a medical kit there. It does not have all of this stuff that normally comes in that particular kit. I've dramatically pared it down and added things that are more likely to be desperately needed. And then, of course, the kit above that with the little shovel, my poop kit. In case of emergency, you should really have both of them. The poop kit's just got a small thing of hand sanitizer, the shovel, of course, and some Whizzy wipes, which are biodegradable towelettes that do a much better job than toilet paper in cleaning you up afterwards. So next is my electronics. You can see I've got a Nightcore headlamp. It's a really good one of the newer ones. And I've got a Garmin InReach Mini, not the Mini 2, just the Mini. I've also got two battery banks, a charger, and charging cables for recharging my electronics. I've got a plan in place to replace the battery bank with some of my resupplies, and then others I will simply charge while I'm staying at hostels. So now we've got a lot of miscellaneous stuff, so I'm going to kind of go through them as a list. So the two little balls, there's a little black one there at the toes of my Crocs, are roller balls for dealing with plantar fasciitis. I've had a case of plantar fasciitis in my right foot for quite some time now, and it's very painful. The podiatrist says that stretching and rolling it after a day of exertion will be helpful. The Crocs, of course, are water shoes and camp shoes. So if I have to do a water crossing and don't want to get my feet wet, I can make the change. The little case there, that's a little note kit, pen and pencil that will write in the rain. It's very handy to have if I need to leave a note somewhere or if I just want to journal, although most of my journaling will probably be done via vlog. Small container of bug spray, and it's the Peckerton, not the DEET based. The little orange case there, that's got a head net to keep the bugs off of me. The little strap is for hanging my backpack. I can put it around a tree and it'll keep my pack off the ground. Of course, always carrying a map. That's the first one that I'm going to need in the whites, but I'm going to have my new maps delivered as part of my resupply, so I don't have to carry them all the whole way. The black container there, that is a can of bear spray. There is a problem bear that has been spotted in the area around the Liberty Springs campsite. I don't plan on spending the night there, but I do plan on having my bear spray when I get to that section. I probably won't carry it early on, but it'll be in my resupply just before I get there. Of course, a little buff just to keep my neck and head warm if needed. And then last but not least is my hat. It's got a neck protector that will keep the sun off of my neck. And oh, I'm sorry, really last, but certainly not least, is Pemmy. Pemmy is going with me. He's a luxury item for sure, but I wouldn't want to do this without him. So next is my kitchen kit. It's got a lot of little moving parts. So this is a dehydrated meal insulated pouch. You pour the boiling water in the meal, you put the pouch in here, and it keeps it warm so that by the time your food is hydrated, it is not cold. Of course, I've got a spoon, but I've also got this little thing which makes it a little easier to clean out the cook pot when you're done. And it fits in this little pouch here. Of course, always want a fire source. And this will allow me to transfer fuel from one fuel container to another. At hostels that have hiker boxes, that may allow me to go a little further without carrying quite so much fuel. This is a jet boil cook system, and inside is the stove itself as well as the tripod. The little bottom cup is heat proof, so you can pour boiling water in it, but more importantly, you can use it to measure water. This is my bear hang kit. I hope to actually not need that because I plan on staying at shelter areas where there are bear boxes. However, not all shelter areas have bear boxes. And this is just a little flip out cup for eating oatmeal in the mornings. Of course, the fuel, but that is not a that is a consumable, so that will go in later when I'm doing my final weights. And this, of course, is just a little hygiene kit. It's got toothpaste, toothbrush, pair of toenail clippers. I expect to need those, but because it has the toothpaste in it, that stays in my food kit. So let's put that in the bag. So those are all the items that count against my base weight. Let's see what it looks like. So right about 20 pounds is my base weight. A little heavier than I'd like, but it's what I've got. So let's talk now about what I'm going to be wearing. First of all, while I'm not technically wearing them, I will be carrying my trekking poles, so they're not going to count against my base weight. Of course, some nice Reebok synthetic underwear and a good rigger belt. Mountain Hardwear convertible pants. They're the ones that the bottoms zip off to become shorts, which are good. Pair of darn tough hiking socks. Some Ultra gaiters, and then some Indingy toe sock liners. The shirt that I'm choosing to use is the Outdoor Vitals sun hoodie. It's extremely lightweight. It doesn't keep you warm for squat, but it's not supposed to. It's supposed to keep the sun off you. So I'm going to put all of that in a little paper bag, and in a moment we're going to weigh that along with my expendables and see what that's going to weigh. In the bag below, I've got 3 days of food. I've taken and filled my water bottles, and I've got my clothing. So if I add that to my base weight, we will get my total weight. That cannot be right. So it looks like we're right under 14 pounds. So with 20 pounds, that means that my total weight is about 34 pounds. So total weight of 34 pounds, heavier than I'd like, but lighter than I feared. I didn't want to go over 35 because once you start getting over 35, that pack doesn't carry as well. But right at 35, it should carry just fine. And my weight will probably be lower than that most of the time. That is like the maximum carry, because that is a 3-day food load as well as full water. But I'm not going to carry full water if I know there's water along the route. I'll just resupply along the way. I'm keeping my mileage short so that most days I will finish early, which means I've got time to take my time, to rest, to stop and filter water, and to just stop and enjoy. You know, I want to stop and smell the roses, as it were. So if you look down below in the links, you'll see the link to my 46 Climbs fundraiser. I haven't made my stretch goal yet, so please consider donating. If I make my stretch goal before I get to the end, I'll keep going. I've got the Mahoosuc section, which would add about 11 miles, which I expect to take about 2 days, because part of that is the Mahoosuc Notch, which, well, I think it took me 2.5 hours to do that 1 mile last time. So that's a long day, no matter what. But I'm really looking forward to this hike. Little nervous. This is the biggest thing I've ever tried. So please follow along and encourage me as I go. My grandson will be doing the video editing for me so that I don't have to worry about it. So the videos should be coming up but with a little bit of a delay, but not too much. So follow along and comment. I love to hear from my subscribers. Until next time, this is Azimuth, signing off.